All right, so today we're going to unpack just one single sentence, but it was written almost 2,000 years ago. And believe it or not, it holds this incredible formula for freedom. By the time we're done here, you'll see how it explains a struggle we all feel and points to a really powerful solution. So, yeah, let's just dive right in. That desire for freedom, it's something everybody gets. This quote from the Gospel of John really hits on a deep need we all have, right? I mean, who doesn't want to be free from their hangups, their bad habits, all that stuff that just holds us down? But what does that really mean? What does it look like in real life, day to day? So, is it just about, getting a clean slate for things you've done wrong? Or is there something more to it, something that changes how we live right now? Well, the text we're digging into today suggests it's all about being set free from the power those things have over us. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. The key to unlocking this whole idea of freedom is found in this conflict. It's a clash between two powerful opposing principles, or laws, that are always at work. You've got one that's constantly pulling you down, and another that's trying to lift you up. And here it is. This single sentence from the book of Romans has the whole formula packed right into it. It names these two forces we just talked about, the law of sin and death and the law of the spirit of life. So let's take them apart, one by one. Okay, first things first, we've got to get a handle on the problem. The source describes it as a kind of spiritual gravity. Think about that. It's this constant force that's always pulling us in a direction we know we don't want to go. Now, when you hear the word law here, don't think of a rule book. It's more like a law of physics, a consistent, predictable principle. And this law of sin and death is basically that reliable principle that says when we try to do it all on our own strength, we're just going to end up frustrated and hitting a dead end. And that's why this metaphor of gravity is so perfect. It's not something you have to turn on, right? It's just always there, a constant downward pull. And this just nails what that feels like, doesn't it? You know that feeling when you know exactly what you should do, you even want to do it, but somehow you find yourself doing the complete opposite. Yeah, that's it. It's that frustration of just trying harder and harder, but still feeling stuck. And the source suggests, hey, this is just part of being human. But here's the good news. If there's a law of gravity, well, science also shows us there's a law of flight. And this is the solution. It's about introducing a different, more powerful principle that completely changes the game. So here's the counterforce. The law of the spirit of life. And again, law just means principle. This is the principle of a totally new power that can work inside a person, giving them the ability to actually overcome that downward pull.
The metaphor here is just perfect. Think about an airplane. It doesn't cancel out the law of gravity, right? Gravity is still pulling on it just as hard. But the principles of lift and thrust, they introduce a greater force that overcomes gravity. And that's what allows the plane to fly.
So let's just put these two side by side. On one hand, you've got the gravity, the thing that pulls you down and leads to what the text calls death, which is really that feeling of being frustrated and spiritually stuck. But on the other hand, you have the flight, the principle of the spirit's life. And that lifts you up, leads to real life, and that's what sets you free. But it gets even better. The text doesn't just stop with these cool physics metaphors. It pushes past the idea of these impersonal forces to show us something way deeper, something that's incredibly personal. See, if we only think about it like flight, it's easy to start thinking of this spirit of life as just, well, a power source, like some kind of energy we can just tap into whenever we need a little boost. But that's not quite right. That's not the whole story. And this is a really important question to ask ourselves. Is this freedom thing just about learning how to use some new spiritual technique? Is the spirit just like a cosmic battery that we plug into to get the power to be a better person? Is that all it is? And the answer the text gives is a hard no. This is the absolute core of the whole idea. The solution isn't a what, it's a who. The law of the spirit of life isn't some principle you learn to manipulate. It's a person you get to know. And this isn't a new idea either. It has really deep roots. The source material points way back to ancient promises, like this one from Jeremiah. The whole point was that the new way of connecting with God wasn't going to be about following a bunch of external rules, but about having an internal, personal relationship. It's all about knowing God personally. So think about what that means. If the solution is a person and not just a power, that totally changes how we get this freedom. It completely shifts the dynamic away from our effort to something else entirely. So you've basically got two paths. There's the gravity path, which is all about striving, trying harder, gritting your teeth, using more willpower, doing it all by yourself. And we all know where that leads. Just frustration, right? But then there's the flight path, and that's all about receiving. It's about trust. It's about relationship. It's about finally letting go of the controls and trusting the pilot. This quote here really just says it all. It's such a radical shift in how we think about this. Victory doesn't come from striving, from fighting harder against gravity. It's found by receiving a life that already knows how to fly. And that's really the question this ancient formula leaves us with. So think about it. In whatever part of your life you feel that downward pull, that gravity, what would it actually look like to stop trying so hard, to stop trying to fix it all by yourself, and instead to just open your hands and receive?